This video is going to cover how to create a design grid in Photoshop for creating your web designs. We're going to use a 12-column grid, just like this, but we're going to create it from scratch in Photoshop. If you're using Adobe XD or Sketch, you'll be able to access grids in those applications. What if you don't have Adobe XD on your computer? Start out with File, New. I'm creating a custom size 1280 by 1800, clicking on Create. As you can see from this diagram, it's not always a 12-column grid. It really depends upon how you're laying out your columns and the physical device that you're designing for. From iWatch, 1-column grid, to iPhone, to iPad, to desktop, maybe wide desktop. You have to decide your grid pattern that best suits the content. For desktop, think about using a 12-column grid to start out with. You might discover that you need a different grid breakout. To create a grid, go under View, New Guide and Layout. You can see that it's already jumping to the grid because I've previously done this. I'm doing Custom. I unselected rows, just want columns. The number of columns I want are 12. That's kind of the top standard for web design. Gutter is 20 pixels. That's my choice. Gutter is also known as an alley. I'm putting a margin of 100 pixels on the left side and 100 pixels on the right side. This will be my active grid area. This panning on the left and right side will be used to show an image that you want to stretch full width of the browser. And that's how you let web designers and coders know that the image is going full width by stretching it beyond the columns. Click OK. And so here's my guides. Next step is to create shapes to fill in these guides to use as a visualization of what's being created. Select from the shape tool, rectangle tool. Going to make a rectangle. Then I'm switching to the move tool, holding down the option key or alt key on a PC. Just drag that over. Drag it again. And keep on doing that until you fill out all the columns, all 12 of them. Create a folder, and that folder will be called Grids. I'm going to select all these rectangles, place them in the folder, just like that. And to place them in the folder, you just select them all and then drag them into the folder. I'm going to fold up this folder by clicking the triangle. I'm going to change the opacity of this folder to 30%. And with this folder selected, clicking on the lock to lock the folder. That way you don't accidentally create art in this folder. Your art will be created elsewhere, either above or below the grid. You might move this grid folder above all your art to take a look at the grid level, or when it gets in the way, you could turn it off and turn it back on, or put it below all your art. Save the file, and that's how you create a grid. Grids will also help you define the responsiveness within your designs. As a little tip, if you're going to be designing web pages, why would you want to recreate this over and over and over again? Save this file, and then for the next project, open up grid.psd, and then do a file save as, and do a save as name, such as hobby grid, or whatever you want to call the design. This way you can save a few minutes and keep consistency across your web designs.